Amanda is in Georgia. Hey, Amanda. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. How can Dr. John and I help?
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
You bet.
Okay, great. Well, just at a high level, my husband posed sort of an ultimatum to me back in December, which was, you stay here in Atlanta and figure out how to make your own way or move with me to Chattanooga, which is about 100 miles away. We've been married over 9 years. We have a 7-year-old daughter. I'm a contractor, and I don't know if I'm going to continue on past June. But now I'm interviewing for other roles, like at CDC and Georgia Pacific. And my husband, who's educated, just kind of wants to leave his job and pivot in his career and figure out what he wants to do. But he feels like just getting out of the city and moving to Tennessee is better because his parents have passed on. They've left him 5 paid-off properties. One is like a main house that he's saying we could live in. There's 4 rental properties. And he just wants to kind of be debt-free and move away. And I'm scared to death because my life and my career and my opportunities for job opportunities are here in Atlanta. So I've lost a lot of sleep over this over the past few months. So thank you for taking my call.
So how's your marriage?
Sucks.
It's hard when your husband is kind of, the most. I feel like the most important thing to him is to be debt free, and I only have one debt, which is a $42,000 student loan that,
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
There's something not whole here.
Yeah. People don't just come in and go, I'm going to leave. If you want to come with me, that'll be great. That doesn't happen in a good marriage.
Or when they do, they've reached, that's the end of the road for them. That's the end of the line. Is it that kind of ultimatum, or is it more of an ingest, hey, let's just do this? I'm trying to get a gauge from you. Is your marriage in real trouble?
It might be.
No, you know, not might be. Is your marriage in real trouble?
Yeah, I would say it is. We've tried to get counseling, but my husband just wants to leave, and he's like, fend for yourself unless you move out here with me.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with real estate. It's cool that you got 5 paid off properties.
And it doesn't even have anything to do with him being willing to leave, wanting to leave. It's got to do he's wanting to leave you.
Yeah. There's a disconnect between the two of you that's way bigger than real estate. And do you want to stay married? Do you want to stay married to him? Do you love this guy?
I love him, and I would have been willing to consider things if he had more of a strategy, and other than I'm quitting my job and moving there and just,
Yeah, I don't. With all due respect, Amanda, I don't think you're hearing what Dave and I are saying. You're talking about strategies and plans and what's it going to be like to be a landlord versus I'm applying for a new job. That's not what we're talking about. Like, your marriage is on fire. And somebody who has been married to you for the better part of a decade has said, I've found another train now, and it's not a her that you know of, but it's an opportunity. I'm out. You're welcome to get on the train if you want, but I'm out. That is not a real estate issue. That is are we going to make this? Are we going to continue to make a go at this? And that's what I'm asking you. Are you interested in your marriage? Do you still love this guy?
He doesn't propose an ultimatum like this unless the marriage has degraded far enough that his vision of his life in Chattanooga is better than being married to you. Otherwise, you don't throw an ultimatum up like that. Because here's the thing. Let's say that you were dumb enough to go, okay, if that's the case, the only way we can stay married is I'll go. Then guess what? When you get up there, you're still married to the exact same guy that was willing to walk away from you.
The worst part about moving is that you go with you.
And that would just be weird. So the problem in this whole discussion is not whether it's correct to stay in Atlanta with your career aspirations and those to be respected and heard by him, and it's not whether his goals of being debt-free and taking the family inheritance that he's gotten and starting a new life in Tennessee versus Atlanta is correct. Neither one of those are wrong. The ultimatum is what's wrong.
And quite honestly, your indifference to the ultimatum.
Yeah, like you didn't hear it. You didn't hear what it meant.
No, I believe me, I've cried myself to sleep many nights. So I'm just at a point where I'm like, well, maybe it makes sense to go with them and continue to.
It might. I've made the same concession. I lived in Houston, which is similar to Atlanta. I loved it. And then we had an opportunity. My wife asked if I was interested in moving to a city similar to Chattanooga in Texas. And we had a discussion about it. We did it as a team. And then we moved together as a team. And so what I'm saying to you is you've got to decide if you want to stay in this marriage, number one. Number two,
right.
You've got to sit down with your husband. And I'm telling you right now, it's 10x what you think it is. The journey back to each other is going to be long, and you've got to recommunicate, reconnect, and get with a professional to help you walk alongside each other back together.
And the reason is that no one does an ultimatum like this unless it's really bad already. The ultimatum is not an indication of he wants to go to Chattanooga. It's an indication of he doesn't care whether you go or not. That's what's scary here. And
if you hear in your voice, if you hear in your heart, I'd rather stay in Atlanta, I kind of want him to go, then that's a conversation you got to have with yourself and with your counselor and with your husband. And if you say, I'm willing to drop all of this and go there, then that tells me you still have some fire in your belly about your marriage, and you need to sit down and look him in the eye and say, let's make this right and let's make this whole.
Yeah, because he doesn't.
No.
I don't want to go to Chattanooga with this in this condition that it's in.
Absolutely not.
You got to fix this marriage before you make the commitment to go. You can't just go along. Go along is not going to work, because what's broken will still be broken when you do that. Because I got to tell you, man, if this happened in my house, either way, either one of us would go, you got to be
Bye,
kidding
Felicia.
me.
That's right.
You really think you're that important, don't you? That would not go well.
No.
But it's an indication that it already isn't going well.
Right. But the beauty is, time and time again, couples face these crossroads, and they both let their air out of their lungs, and they look at each other and say, let's do this. Let's reconnect.
I'm fine if you live in Atlanta or Chattanooga as long as you heal your marriage first.
There you go. And your marriage is probably worth it.
Oh, it's worth healing, but this is the fire alarm that's not going off. Okay, I don't think I got where I wanted to go completely on that last call. I somehow didn't get the line there. And I know I didn't connect. The light bulb never went on over her head. I know that. So let's kind of walk that through from a relationship IQ perspective. Okay. He comes in and says, I'm going to Chattanooga. You want to come? Fine. You don't want to come? Fine. Just let me know. But I'm leaving.
So let's back up even before that. His parents die. Right.
Okay.
So that's
the family home's up there. It's debt free. He has a desire to be debt free.
He's got 5 family homes. He's been living in a city, maybe living in a place he doesn't want to support her dreams, wife's dreams. I'm making up a narrative here.
Okay.
But he's got a trauma, and then something
activates this.
Something falls from the sky, and he has a decision now. He can say it where he says, "I've been in this a decade. I see the trajectory on this thing. I've got a chance to do something different," which is a common 7 to 10 year marriage itch, right? That's what they call it.
And add to that a trauma that activates it.
There you go.
Okay. But even with that, even with the trauma and even with the standard itch,
it's often a light bulb, right?
But even with that, he doesn't suddenly come to the place.
No, and that's where using the light bulb analogy,
that's what was bothering me, because he, in other words, at some point he was trying to talk to her, and she just wasn't going to listen. And he finally reached the end of that and just went, well, look.
Now a train showed up to take him out of town.
No, yeah, but I mean, it's the communication was broken before we got to the ultimatum.
Way before the ultimatum.
There was a breakdown in their relationship way before, a breakdown of trust. Because I can't imagine doing that. Sharon and I have made a lot of very painful and difficult decisions that the other one didn't want to do necessarily, and it just took a while to get there. Mm-hmm. But there was always a respect of the other person's viewpoint. There was always a connectivity, a sense of dignity, and even when we were fighting about it, that was there.
Because there's an underlying foundation that we may disagree, but he's not trying to hurt me, or he's not trying to bury me, or she's not trying to.
You know, but
she's not going to leave me.
It sounded like that a little bit like one possible narrative to go with you, and it would match with yours actually, is that he's been saying for years, I want to get out of debt, and she's been sitting on a student loan and wouldn't talk about it.
Or
and
I don't like living in the city.
He's been saying, I hate Atlanta. I want to get out of here. And she's been going, I don't hate it. And he's been going, you know, and so he's not heard in a sense. And he went, well, you're not listening to me. So I'm leaving, by the way, and going to Chattanooga. But the point is, it's not the debt-free thing. It's not the inheritance that caused this. It's not even, you know, the difference in size and lifestyle between Chattanooga and Atlanta, which is substantial.
It's a splinter in a relationship that started years ago that has turned into a gulf. Yeah.
And then she's sitting there going, I don't think I want to leave my job. And we couldn't even get her to talk about the relationship being screwed up.
Well, and I thought about that over the break too, and I want to give her grace and understand there is a point when you are blindsided or you are unaware and you go into fix-it mode, right? Your brain goes to math. You go to fight, flight, or freeze, and you're frozen. You're just trying to solve a math problem right now. And that's what I was trying to do, was get her out of a math problem and say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Your sidewalk that you're walking on doesn't exist anymore. And if you don't want it to, that's one thing. If you do, stop talking about money. Don't talk about getting out of debt and life in Atlanta versus Chattanooga, career versus not. The guy that you married, that you said forever to,
with a 7-year-old kid,
is yelling through a megaphone at you, I'm out, and you're welcome to come. And that's the heartbreaking part of that for me. That's when you put all your career stuff down and all of your dreams and ambition, and you look somebody in the eye and you hold their hands and say, what happened? Where are we? And let's reconnect this thing.
Yeah, and you really get in some pretty intensive marriage counseling.
You got to have somebody, at this point, you got to have somebody walk along with you.
Yeah.
And then the career stuff and the where do we want to live
You can
stuff,
add that stuff back on the plate. But right now, it's got to be, you got to clean the plate off.
Absolutely.
Because the plate, you know, if you keep moving that food around, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
So you can just discuss this crap. You know, it's as if, you know, well, he listened to Dave Ramsey and he wants to get out of debt worse than he wants to be married to me. No. He just didn't want to be married to you.
And I think that anytime somebody blames Dave Ramsey.
Well, she didn't, but I mean, she blamed his desire to get out of debt.
And that's like, again, going back to the first caller of the day, that's like yelling at the fire alarm to stop yelling so loud and not realize your kitchen's on fire and there's smoke everywhere, right? That's
just so interesting. So interesting. Because we talk to so many on here that are, you know, how do I get my spouse involved? How do I get my spouse on board? Which is a much healthier question.
Oh, man.
You know, it's like, yeah, I really want to do this, and I really want them to come with me. And I'm not threatening to go without them.
And I almost hear in that question, how do I get them on board, I won't do this if it's going to cost me them. Right.
I can't go without them. And I always tell them, you shouldn't go without them because it's not going to work.
It's not going to work anyway, right?
It's not going to work anyway, yeah. So very interesting.